Yo, what's up? This is your boy Ntege again with yet another amazing video. In this particular video, you're going to learn the 8 tips that are going to help you better your portrait photography game. Let's roll into the intro and boom!
It's a celebration of humanity, an accentuation of beauty and what humanity has accomplished. The ones who are celebrated every day, but because they matter. Ntege, tap into greatness.
Welcome again to the Ntege network, where you tap into greatness. In this particular video, as I told you, we are going to learn those 8 tips that are going to help you take mind-blowing portraits. And if you're a person who shoots in natural light, number 6 is going to amaze you. Just subscribe to this channel, turn notification, and leave comments below and tell me what you think about these 8 tips and which one of these tips is your favorite tip. Make sure that within these 15 minutes you get the best you can. I want these 15 minutes to be the 15 minutes that changed your photography game to another level. Let's dive into number 1. Make sure the sun is hitting your subject from the back. What do I mean by this? If the sun is coming from that direction or this way, make sure the light that is hitting your subject is hitting the subject from the back. Does this feel weird? I know you may say, but the subject will come out dark. No, this is what I mean. If the light is hitting the subject from the back, an indication you will have more of a shadow zone in the face of your subject, which means the light hitting your subject's face is going to be softer than the light hitting her from the back. This is very easy to control soft light hitting the main features of the face than it is to control shadows, hard shadows hitting the face from the hard side of light. I don't know whether I'm making sense. Let me say this again. It is very easy to retouch or to edit an image that has soft light than an image that has a lot of hard shadows hitting it. So when you get in an open space and there is no shade whatsoever, place your subject against the sun. In other words, turn the face away from the sun and let the face be in shadow so that you get more and more soft, flattering shadows. Let's go into number 2. Number 2, you have to look for shade. What do I mean? If you get into a place, the first question as a photographer, what you ask yourself is, where is the light coming from? Do I have shade nearby? So in a particular situation, look for shade. Take your subject under a tree, because the tree is going to act as a diffuse funnel. The tree is going to act as a diffuser that is going to give you more flattering light. Unlike taking somebody in the sun where you're going to get raccoon eyes, you don't want your subject looking like King Julian, you know? You want your subject looking the best they want to look. That is why I would say you have to look for a shade whatsoever where you have opportunity, where you can. Let's dive into number 3. The other tip you should put in mind is, guys, make use of your diffusers. Use diffusers. Now, if you own a reflector, do you see that white thing that comes within your reflector? That translucent white thing? Now, that is a diffuser. If you're shooting in broad daylight, if you're shooting under the sun, get that diffuser, put it over somebody's, put it in front of that somebody and let light go through it. That will give you much more of a studio light feel if the sun is hitting the subject through the diffuser. If I am the subject and the sun is that direction, place the diffuser right in front of me and let the sun shoot through that particular diffuser so that my face is flattered more. That is what I mean when I say make use of your diffuser. Now, that is some other thing that is going to change your portraits and put them to the next level, and you won't believe how beautiful your portraits are going to come out when you make use of that thing. It is not just for reflecting, it is for diffusing if you're shooting underneath the sun. Let's go on to my tip number 4. Tip number 4, I know this is not technical, it is not something you really expected, but tip number 4, guys, engage and engage with your subject. What do I mean? I see lots and lots of portrait photographers who shoot portraits and they're like shooting an army of soldiers, they're like shooting cows. Even people who photograph cows play reggae music for the cows so that they give them more milk, because they are trying to build what they call emotion. So guys, engage with your subject. These are human beings you're shooting. 70% of the people who shoot are not models. So how do you get the best out of them? You can only get the best out of them by being a motivation to them, by talking great things into them, by speaking beauty into them, by showing them that everything is fine. The best thing to do is talk to your subjects and let them feel comfortable around you, because you can tell a subject that was happy during a photo shoot by the results of pictures you get, because you will see the sadness, you will see the tiredness in the eyes of that particular image, because this person wasn't engaged. Don't be the kind of photographer who shoots and talks and says, I don't think I love the lighting here. Don't do that. Do not show your subject that things are not fine. It is upon you as a photographer to make sure your subject feels at ease, especially if you're doing glamour portraits. If you're doing photojournalism, I'm okay with you, because it's about capturing the moment and taking it the way it is. But if you are into this motivational glamour kind of photography like I am, guys, engagement is something you should look at. It is something you should put into consideration. This brings me to my tip number 5. Now, you see that lens you have there? Yes, it has something like 18-55, 24-105, 70-200. Yes, if you're using such lenses, you should use the longest focal length. What do I mean? If you're shooting with an 18-55, shoot your portraits at 55 millimeters. If you're shooting with a 70-200, you shoot at 200. If you're shooting with a 24-105, do your portraits at 105. What do I mean? Portraits look very good in focal lengths from 50 millimeters and above. Let me say this again. The best portraits ever taken look very beautiful. Okay, the best portraits you will ever get that flatter somebody more are from focal length 50 millimeters and above. If you've looked at the Busta Rhymes video where his head looks distorted and big, it's because it was shot with a wide angle lens, and I don't think there is anybody who comes to you to take a glamour portrait to get a distorted cartoon-like face. If you want portraits that flatter, shoot at focal length 50 millimeters and above, because that is the way the human eye perceives beauty. This brings me to my point number tip number 6 to help you get better portraits. Guys, this is simple but yet so powerful. Cropping. You're cropping in Photoshop or in whatever, whether you're cropping on camera, whether you're cropping in Photoshop, it has to be value added. For example, if you're cropping in Photoshop, I know you guys have seen these particular knobs where you can crop using the rule of thirds, you can crop using the golden ratio, you can crop using the golden triangle. All these particular ways of cropping, how do you use them to get flattering portraits? But what these things, for example, like the rule of thirds do, they just guide you on how the brain perceives beauty. I'm not saying that you abide by these rules, but these should be your guiding principles, because if you know what to do, you can easily break them in a creative way. So what am I trying to say? Learn how to crop these things based on the rule of thirds. For example, if I get a portrait like this and decide to place these eyes at a particular line of horizon, a picture like this would look more pleasing to the eye than a picture that is not cropped based on these particular principles. This is the question of taste. It's not a must, but I believe it is something that is going to add something onto your portrait photography game. Guys, this is my tip number 7. You won't believe what it has. Tip number 7, this is the best you will ever get if you're a natural light shooter. Try to create what they call creative shadows. How do you do creative shadows? Guys, when you get on set, turn your subject all around and watch how the light hits them from different directions. You know, it is, as a photographer, those are things you have to look at, you know, because beauty of a person is determined by how they demarcate themselves against space and how light hits them. So how does light hit a subject from a particular direction? For example, if I'm shooting in the afternoon, me facing, giving my subject a pose that keeps their faces facing up in the light, that would be my creative way of using shadows. For example, if I got leaves and created patterns and put them over their head and created patterns on their face, I'm making use of creative shadows. Guys, this is where your creativity comes in. I've seen the likes of Jerry Guionis use less material. They put that less in front of their subjects and shoot and do these beautiful portraits with floral patterns of lace onto a subject's face, and they create amazing shadows. Guys, this is you making use of your creative juice. You have to extract it, and force yourself to be better than the photographer you were yesterday. Because on this channel, we are about simplifying and helping you get as creative as you can with your photography craft. This brings me to my tip number 8. Tip number 8 is pausing, guys. Pausing is very important. In pausing, this is where the technique, I would call it the philosophy of idealism, comes in. This philosophy works like this: expose somebody's strength and hide somebody's weakness. What do I mean by this? If somebody has broad shoulders, I don't see the reason as to why you pose them in a position that emphasizes the shoulders. You could avoid things like slouching if somebody has, you know, broad shoulders. Now, this is slouching, you know, and how are they supposed to stand? They stand out, shoulders back, so that you expose their neck more. You slim them out here to avoid those Hulk Hogan shoulders for women. Now, the other thing you shouldn't forget, if you're photographing men, for men it's about making them look cool and having all those chisels and the like, and for women it is about emphasizing curves and all that stuff. Fingers is also some other thing you should look at. How soft are fingers? You should look at Rococo paintings. Rococo paintings will give you more of how you should pose your fingers in glamour portraits. I know this is not in any way connected to light, but this is something that is going to turn your portrait photography game to the next level. Guys, I just want to see you progress. I really care about seeing many good photographers, because if we have many good photographers, it means a better and beautiful world where people believe in themselves and love themselves even better than they do. Because as photographers, as you all know, we are not just giving pictures, we are giving people an attachment to beauty. We are giving them something to help them believe in themselves even more. It is more than memories. So this brings me to the end of this particular episode. Guys, thank you for being part of this channel, and congratulations if you've watched this video till the end. Take a minute, subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up, and Let us see you how you tap into greatness. It is Ntege again. I love you so much and adios.
Ntege,